Hi, welcome to the second hour of My Shifters Radio. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Yeah, we got a little singer here. Yes. Can you say hi? Can you say hi?
Hi, Lincoln. Hi, sweetie. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Didi. I've heard so much about you. You are just amazing. I heard you were very willful too.
Yeah, he just jabbers. He was singing on a karaoke machine this morning, but he was just jabbering, except I did catch da 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 da.
Da, da, da,
But
da.
other
And
than that, he's not.
you had your first rotation around the sun, I
He
heard.
did.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think you'll take a nap before the show's over. So if you're doing worksheets or you need support in any way, love to hear from you.
And what's exciting in your world? I loved yesterday's show. I thought it was awesome. Got a nice note back from Shawn. And Shawn's looking at things on another level in his process and his work. So
I was
pretty
going to
amazing.
ask if you wanted to address his questions in the email. I printed it off. So he says, what a show experience. I am learning to trust there is healing in being exposed and having the previously unseen parts challenged. Valuable steps indeed. I won't make it to the next show, but I wanted to follow up if Michael or anyone else could address. And he's got three things. One, if the little study group continues to a new lesson topic, do we have permission to use the Why book for out loud reading? Yes, of course.
No, we don't allow that. We just keep that all to ourselves. But there are 9 different translations free on the website. Just go to whyagain.org/book. You can share it to people you know in, I don't know what all is in there, Swedish, Spanish, lots of different languages. So go for it. And you don't have to know any more about this work than that you feel like it's your place to teach it, to take it. And if you know one thing more about forgiveness than the person you're in front of, then you can support them in learning forgiveness. And we're here. You don't have to know every answer. We're here to support you. And now help answer every question, and or take the questions we don't have answers to and go searching for those answers. So go for it.
And his second was a question for himself. Where does the spirit man exist that is supposed to be the real us? Or is there just one collective spirit with the illusion of fragmentation? I guess what is the real us if the physical body is not the real us?
Well, to address that thought, I would go to our codependence work. And one of the things that I go into in the codependence workshop, and I don't remember exactly how many of them are offhand. I have to go look at my notes, but there are several pseudo solutions of the non-being mind. Things that the mind of man in us say, oh, this will take care of the problem. And the number one pseudo solution is, if I could just figure this out. So my offering would be, you're never going to figure that one out. There are no words that are ever going to speak the truth, ever. You know, when you recognize, you know, the Harvard research that says that in a time frame where 10,000 brain cells are firing, there are 10,000 measurable units of electrical activity going on, the maximum amount of data that is used by the mind to build what we think we see out there, which is really just a construct in our mind called perception, is 9 bits of data. Now, just take that ratio, 9 bits out of 10,000, and let's see if we can explain 10,000 bits of data in a 9-bit mind. Ridiculous. And then the images that are generated in that 9-bit mind, we've made up a series of grunts or groans. You know, the truth is I've never said a word. we call what I'm doing saying words, but what I'm really doing is I've practiced getting air to flow over a little flap of skin in my throat that makes a series of grunts and groans that we've given meanings to. If you think any of those grunts and groans are ever going to explain the 10,000 bit world happening inside of you in that 9-bit time frame, good luck. And then it's been estimated, let's just add a dimension of complexity to it. It's been estimated in that same time frame where those 10,000 brain cells are firing, and that's about a 25th of a second, that there are perhaps as many as 20 trillion bits of data happening in the actuality. So now let's see if our symbols words. So my mind generates a picture, which is not the thing, it's a symbol. And then I get this little flap of skin in my throat to vibrate and create what I call a word, and I let that word represent the picture that's in my mind. So now we've got, as the Course in Miracles speaks about, a symbol of a symbol trying to explain in 9 bits what's happening in 10,000, what's happening in perhaps 20 trillion bits. You're not going to find it. However, if there's pain behind it, we can forgive it. If there's turmoil behind it, we can forgive it, whatever it is. We don't have to figure it out. And we can breathe, and the breath will deliver. If we're acquainted with fully the breath will deliver a full experiential, what's the word I'm looking for? Understanding, comprehension, which perhaps we'll go and try to put into words, but will once again be impossible. However, there is a little exercise we do at the beginning of our Why Is This Happening to Me Again workshop. And that is, if you've ever held a newborn child, go back to the moment where you held that newborn child, put a word to your experience of that newborn, and recognize that and most people, I'm just trying to put it in the context of your question. We've asked that question of tens of thousands of people all over the globe, all kinds of different cultures. And everybody who comes back with an answer that describes a newborn, there's some variation on the theme of the word love. Can we capture love in a word? No, but that's the grunt that we've made up to represent that experience. And we have deeply, with deep consequences of trauma, believed that word doesn't describe a being, but describes some kind of action or something that I'm going to get from somebody else or something I'm going to give to somebody else. My offering is, no, you have never loved anyone. No, no one has ever loved you. You never will love anyone. God does not love you. Love is not a verb. It's not something we get or give or do to each other. It's what we are. And the problem with the mind when we mislabel it, Vladimir Lenin, probably responsible for more deaths on planet Earth than any human being in history, says, if you want to destroy a culture, change the meaning of its words. Love represents a state of being. That's, I think, the answer to what you're looking for, the closest we've got in grunts and groans, in what we call words. That's who we are. And unfortunately, we live in a culture whose specialty is to make sure that experience of yourself, and think about it, go back and hold the newborn again for a moment. Is the newborn loving you? Oh no, the newborn doesn't even know I'm here. The newborn is love. If you are love, and you say to yourself, or somebody, slaps the experience of yourself as love out of you, and then around the age of 15, 16, 17 pushes you out the door and says, now go find somebody to love. Go find somebody who will love you. I mean, listen to the deep wanting in that song. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need? And we've been thrown off base, and we have a whole language and a whole culture that takes us away from the experience of who we are. and hoping that we'll find it. How'd that song go? Looking for love in all the wrong places, looking for love in too many faces. It's what you are. Stop talking about loving people. Stop talking about people loving you. Let go of all goals for people to love you. Choose to function as love with people and to create communities of other people who are choosing to function as love so that we are there as that space of active present love for each other. We are there as that, and this is the answer to the question you asked about this spirit man, spirit woman, spirit being, that we be that space with and for each other. Because when we give a mind an errant instruction, it goes off in search of something and it gets lost. So that would be my short explanation on that one. We could do a whole 9-day intensive on that one. Or actually, we could do a whole 16-day laws of living intensive on that one. That's one of the core ideas we pursue in laws of living. Been thinking that we might do an online laws of living intensive at some point in the not too distant future, but that would be my input on that one. And maybe, Gene, before you go to his third question, we could just open the space and see if anyone else that's listening has a thought to add, a question, an experience to add to that conversation, or in reply to Shawn's question. Just hit your mute button if you have a thought. And if not, then let's go for the third question.
Please define being out of the mind in order to see and live correctly versus looking within.
Yes. Yes. If we went to the morgue, we find someone who's out of their mind. Carbon-based memory, life functions have ceased, clinical death has occurred. The mind shuts up. Now, if someone is fortunate enough to be resuscitated after clinical death, and most of the world calls it a near-death experience, my offering is it is not a near-death experience at all. It's a near-life experience. Just listen to the stories people tell when they come back from clinical death. It's not a near-death experience. When we got lost in the image in our minds and thought that that picture, that construct of our minds was who we are, we gave up our human lives. That's death. Most people walking around in the culture, you remember Yeshua said to one man who, when he went looking for, he said, oh, I want to come follow you, but I got to go bury my parents first. He said, let the dead bury the dead. Most people are already, as the term you use, spirit being, the state of love, are already dead. And if you're fortunate enough to be resuscitated, now I don't suggest this as a practice because it's pretty risky, but if you had a near-death experience, what the world calls that, what happened was clinical death occurred and you awakened, to who you are. That's a near-life experience. That's when people come back and go, wow, it was a tunnel, there was light, I was totally embraced in love. It was the first time in my life I felt accepted. That's a near-life experience. That's the experience of who we are. And the next best way to approach that experience that I know of, because setting up clinical death can be pretty risky. The next best way I know of to approach that experience is through forgiveness. Every time you apply forgiveness, the actual Aramaic tool of forgiveness, what happens is the same thing occurs as happened with clinical death. The mind shuts up. You're out of your mind. And it's usually only for an instant. Like, it might just be like literally that long before the mind jumps back online. Oh, I have another thought. I'm gonna tell you a thought. That's life. That's what I want you to engage in. And The other, so forgiveness collapses that and gives you a taste. And through the process of forgiveness, you begin to clean out the noise, the generational patterns and the generational noise of carbon-based memory, so that when you collapse perception, you might get to hang there for a while and really truly experience yourself as a human being, as conscious, active, present love. The other place to go for that is still point breathing. In the still point breathing process, and the reason it's called still point is because it's a specific way of using the breath to move the structure out of resistance, which in Aramaic is called Satan. Satan is not a dude with a red suit, a tail, and a pitchfork that's out there to get us. Satan in Aramaic is an internal condition of resistance and being misled by the perceptions in our minds. What still point does is it's a physiological way to de-energize, so to speak, de-emphasize the whole game of perception, getting the mind to shut up. And then, if you're lucky enough, because of the way the breath is structured, there comes a point where the breath spontaneously stops. That's still point. And in that still point place, one moves from a state of physiological resistance, Satan, into a superconductor state where whatever's held in carbon-based memory from the past, whatever you're ready to process through, can be done in an instant. And it's not done by the mind. In fact, when I'm working with someone, I'm actually breathing them, and they go into a still point because the mind can't keep up with the speed of what's processing in still point. Oftentimes people, when they come out, will go, well, nothing happened. I don't remember anything. Yeah, that's because you live in your mind, and your mind is like a slow boat to China compared to the supersonic speed of being, of living in a human life as love. And so if I've ever breathed you and have been doing energy field work on you, you'll notice that there are times when I'll whisper in your ear, as unobtrusively as possible. I'll whisper, be gently aware. What I'm doing there is just giving you a little hook. If your mind didn't keep up with what was going on, the mind will generally have some awareness that something's going on, but it usually can't keep up with it. But that little reminder coming out of a still point, be gently aware, and the mind can come back online and go, oh yeah, that's it. Oh, there's something. Oh yeah, that was it. So going into that state of being is the objective of still point breathing. That's in your life experience. And when you engage in these tools as a practice, then you achieve living a life out of your mind. You've still got your mind. It's got information. If you need it, you turn to it and you go, oh, you got some information about this? Boom, that's all. But it doesn't run your life as it does with most people, because that's not where life is. That's where life is designed to express. It's a tool meant to be our footstool. You remember Yeshua talked about the master bound by the servants in his own household. If you are bound and governed and you think that perception is what's actually happening in your world, then you are that master bound by the servants. The objective of this work is to reverse it. Restore the servant to servant status, what it's supposed to be, and live in being. Live in your spirit man. Live in your true essence, which is love. So hopefully that fits and makes sense. And we'll open the floor. Anybody have any great thoughts for us? Anybody have any not so great thoughts? Go for it. Hey, Terry.
Okay, so in this particular round of healing that I'm experiencing, I just wanted to offer to folks. And this is the first time I've been at this place where after that accident that was just a big, it was huge. Just let's put it that way. So what is happening is that prior to that, when I do a breath session, I might have a reprieve for, depending on how intense the work was, as far as, being in a workshop setting, or how dialed in I was to continuing persevering on the work, or I guess a rate of engagement and all that, that would kind of determine the space between a healing crisis. Okay. So what has happened now is that I'm hitting a level coming out of a breath session, having a very brief period of really feeling clear, clean, and good, and then right back in one. So
Process
I was
point.
thinking it's more. I was thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Am I just going to have to lay around and breathe all day? You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to work. And it's like, oh, I'll get up. I'll do a breath session. I'll get up and I'll feel good. And then within 20 or 30 minutes, I'm starting to it's starting to come on again. So anyway, I'm not complaining. It's like, okay, this is great. That means that stuff's happening. But my mind starts to tell me, oh, wow, you can't do this. This is like too much. This is like, how are you going to slow this down, or what's going on here? But the truth is that it's right on track, right on point, and the frequency and intensity is something that is just with it, in this particular round, and it's the most intense and frequent in all the 25 years that I've been associated with you doing this stuff. And one of the things that's helped me is focusing on pain as a sensation too. As the pain starts to come up, I'm really having to effort. Oh, this is just a sensation. This is an energy sensation in my body, and that helps some, a lot. I don't like pain. Just put that out there. So that's all I got. I wanted to share what was going on and give that feedback out there to anyone who's wondering what's going on with them in their particular process of healing. And it's obviously it's going to be unique and individual to everyone, and unique and individual to each series of healing crises that you may be going through, or each different layers and things. So there's a lot of nuances and differences in it. Okay, thanks, buddy.
Good one. And over the years, Terry, you've heard me use the words process point. And if you go back to Yeshua, he says, the veil of the temple must be rent in twain. He wasn't talking about a purple curtain in the church. He was talking about the barrier between the subconscious and the unconscious. That's the veil. The veil is built by holding the breath. That's how we build. That's how we create this unnatural condition called an unconscious mind. If you talk to psychologists today, they'll tell us that 80, 85, 90, maybe as much as 98% of our thinking is unconscious. And my offering is that we are not designed to have an unconscious. So that tells us how far away we come. When you realize, we've had this conversation before, you're the early adapter in your family, the early adopter. You took it on and said, okay, I'm going for it. Like, who else in your family system could even think about doing what you're doing or having this conversation? Nobody. So you've taken on generations and generations and generations, decided to open the veil. And my take is you've gotten to several factors: a level of vitality, a level of willingness, a level of use of the tools, that you've opened your veil. And when you open it and that stuff starts to move, that's what I call process point. It's like the objective is to get to process point. So this stuff, once you open it, keeps moving. Otherwise, it takes years. And when you get to the willingness to let the veil open, you can move through eons of process work in minutes. And again, the definition of process in this work is the ability to hold love conscious, active, and present when something less than love comes up. And if you think about, we were talking the other day about that film series. I mentioned it to Terry. He and I had watched it. Jeannie and I had watched it. Terry had said he'd watched it too. It was American. Uh, what's the second word in the title? American. It's not coming to mind. Anyway, I'll find it and get it to you. But Terry and I talked about it the other day, and he'd watched it too. And
Primeval.
basically, Primeval, American Primeval. Yeah. It's just a 6-hour series, and it's looking at, and apparently fairly accurately, some of the early happenings in America as people moved west and went through Utah. And the viciousness, brutality, the outrageous abuse of virtually everybody toward everybody. I mean, we're in a sane culture today compared to what was going on there. And when you realize that's what's in our history, there's just a work to be done. And if you're the first one in the family system and said, okay, I'm going to open this box that nobody in my family system has opened in 12,000 years, there are going to be some pretty scary skeletons that come out. And bless you if you can get to the point of willingness and vitality and process point that you can open that, and it moves and it moves and it moves. And sometimes it might take you out of the world for months. And if it does, bless you, that's a good thing. Though, as we've said before, it's not a fun thing. It's not a Dr. Feelgood thing. But it is a
I'd like
Dr.
to add
Feelgood thing.
I'd add one piece to it.
Go
Is
for
that
it.
in between the rolling waves of healing crisis, and there's moments here where I have more vitality, flexibility, and feel goodness than I've had in 6 years. Okay, that's a big. They're very short lived, but I know I'm headed. That's the goal. That's where I'm headed, and the best that I have had moments of freedom from the pain and the restrictions in 6 years. And thank you. It's worth it. That's what I'm getting. That's the
Oh,
point.
yeah.
It's well worth it.
2,000%. And what Terry's talking about, if you're new to the show, it's okay if I share it, Terry?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
6 years
bringing
ago,
tears. Now sharing it's just like wow, it's emotional.
breathing with you. Do you want to go ahead and share it? Would you like me to speak while you breathe and let your tears move?
Yeah, you just go ahead. I'm gonna breathe here.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So Terry's a contractor, and as you can see, he's a pretty big guy. What are you, about 6'4", Terry? So picture
Yep,
yourself, you're on
6'3".
6'3", so you're a contractor and you're on the second floor of a building 14 feet from the story below, the concrete floor below. And unbeknownst to you, one of your fellow workers has taken the railing off of the platform that you're on, and you are stepping back while carrying something, and with no awareness or knowledge whatsoever, you drop 14 feet on your back, on your shoulders, on your head, on your butt, on your legs. And the doctors say you should have been dead. And so breathing with you, Terry, that you've, one, that you even survived that, and two, that you've come back to clean it up and are literally restructuring right down to the bones and trusting the breath to assist you in doing it. It's awesome. It's awesome. I'm with you 1,000%. And so joining you at being at process point for as long as you need to be, as long as willingness and vitality last. I'm breathing with you, holding you in our hearts.
Yes.
Thank you for your willingness. And we won't, we'll just leave it that experience as it is without talking about the 30 plus years of abuse received at the hands of people who could have been out there in the West during that movie. So thanks for your courage, your willingness to keep coming back to it.
Thank you.
So notice you got a whole community here just extending love in your direction, vitalizing you, holding you in our hearts, standing alongside of you, supporting the work you're doing. Any other thoughts for you, Terry?
It's a beautiful, beautiful sensation, beautiful thing to be supported like that.
Yeah, and shortly after that all occurred, had gone down and spent time with you and watching what you were going through physically was that alone was traumatic. It's being the observer of it. But that you've done it, gone through it, and literally, the other day you breathed into and it helped some of those broken ribs to open and restructure themselves. I mean, it's like, doesn't get better than that.
Those bones were popping and cracking. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we'll see how things go when we breathe on the 6th, if that all hits the next level.
All right. I'm ready.
Cool. All right, sir. Have a blessed one. Holding the space.
Thank you, buddy. Mm.
So, Jeannie, was there anything else from Shawn in
No,
his communication?
that was all of his questions.
Okay.
I'll just
So the
add,
floor is, go ahead.
we have ups and downs in life, like this. But after you start doing your work, yeah, you still have ups and downs, but it's going like this. Whoop. I can't get the camera to, okay. So you're going up, you still have ups and downs, but your lowest down is higher than your highest up used to be.
Yeah.
Exactly. I call that the plateaus. You reach a plateau, you get comfortable, and you feel like, oh, well, I'm just whatever. But you've reached a higher level of existence, and then you're ready to go on to the next plateau.
With the ultimate aim being that there is the full literal physiological experience in every cell of the structure of the presence of love. And they spoke of it in the scriptures because, again, you can't put it in words. They talked about and actually the word wasn't peace, it was a serenity that passes all understanding. You can't talk about it, but it's beyond anything we could even start to comprehend in words. And that I'd offer is our natural state. And that's going to be the starting point for humanity. First order of business is we each individually and collectively have to claim our human lives. Bring it to earth. Heaven comes to earth when you enter your form. And then collectively, what are we going to do then? What's it going to look like? Well, the ancients who had some comprehension of that said the mind of man is not yet conceived of what lies in store, of what's possible. Like, what's human life really about? What's it all about, Alfie? You know, they've been asked that question for a long time. Well, we'll get to see when we hit critical mass and we have a mass of actual human beings on the earth, not bodies carrying around generations and generations and generations of trauma. You remember that story about the Jews wandering in the desert for 40 years. That was not about being lost in a hot, sandy place for 4 decades. A 35 square mile hot, sandy place would not contain a group of people who understood astronomy, would not contain them for 45 years. They were not lost there. The desert is a term for the unconscious. What had to happen to get out of the unconscious? Go back to that story about the Jews wandering in the unconscious for 40 years. What had to happen to get out of the desert? They said the old generation had to die off. Now, that's been interpreted as everybody in old physical bodies has to physically die. No, the root of the word generation is genari. It means cause. All of the causes held in the mind of man, carbon-based memory, have to be removed. Otherwise, we live unconscious. Probably the greatest atrocity done to us as human beings down through the ages, and that we've bought into, is we've had hidden from us the fact that we are by nature creators. You and I are creative beings. And of course, everybody loves that idea. Yay, I'm a creator, as long as the creation's going well. But you'll notice how quickly people join the one world universal religion of blame, guilt, fault, suffering, and shame. When the creation isn't going so well, they've got somebody else to blame for it, especially when it's happening to them again. And their conversation's all about everybody else, rather than going to the root of the problem, which is inside of us, and removing the generational patterns, the causes, forgiving as to the generations, so that there is a clean and open space within our hearts or our unconscious for the presence of love to land and consciously source a life. And that was called the Promised Land. Not about some sort of a mythical place with palm trees. It's the land of conscious co-creation. The desert is living in the unconscious, believing that the perceptual constructs of your mind that are produced by your physiology and reflect as pain in your physiology and emotional pain or trauma within your perceptual constructs, believing that those things are real and sourced from outside of you, means you're stuck in the desert. And that's called denial.
Can you help me understand a bit more around, like, Moses didn't make it to the promised land, right? And his, was it his brother did, but he didn't make it. So can you help me understand more around that?
Well, again, the promised land, it's a work in progress
Yeah.
that needs to be done. There's an interesting scene if you watch the movie The Ten Commandments, where all of these whiners and complainers are whining to Moses and whining to Moses, and there they are now. They're stuck against the Red Sea, and the Pharaoh's coming, and they're like, "Oh, we're dead!" And Moses, strikes the rod, and the water's open, and they come out the other side. And the minute that the waters close up and Pharaoh is swallowed, of course, this is all metaphorical for what's going on inside of us. They start whining again about, well, when are you going to get us this? When are you going to take care of that? Well, what are you going to do next? And my take is that Moses in that whole metaphor is just an idea of the ego self, the non-being self. And the non-being self is not going to make it to the promised land. The person that you made up in your mind that you think you are, the ego personality, cannot go there with you.
Got it.
Your being goes.
Yes.
Your non-being mind, Moses, starts to go, oh, there's something we need to do. Let's see. Maybe there's some rules. Hey, you got any rules for any? Oh, you got some commandments? All right. How are we going to do this? And so the non-being mind starts to comprehend, and in comprehending, it begins the dismantling of itself. So the who you thought you were is
Mhm.
not going to be intact when you get there. But who you really are,
Yeah.
so that would be my offering. That would be my take.
Thank.
That makes sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense to me.
Michael,
Cool. Yes,
question.
go
It
for it.
seems as if you're wandering around Costco, what you're doing is seeing that person that you just were all trying to become. I think it's hanging out in broad daylight all the time, except that our ego stuff, our thoughts about ourselves get in the way. But when we're just going down looking for oatmeal along the cereal aisle, maybe we're out of our minds insofar as we're just focused on getting the oatmeal. And what's the rest of us doing? It's probably manifesting what you keep saying you're seeing when you go to Costco and love on all the people that you're passing by.
Yeah, if you enter that practice of letting your eyes exhale love as easily as your body yields its scent, as Rumi suggested,
Yeah.
then you are bringing your own being into what would be called this world, which is nothing but a structure of the mind, and extending beyond that to touch every other cell in your structure. Individuation does not mean separation. And when you get into the concept, when you get into the realization, there's only one of us, and we are individual cells.
You said a good thing just then about you are exhaling love out of your eyes and every pore.
Yes.
If you do it, they feel it and they respond. So maybe you are going around inviting people to be that love.
Yeah, I've noticed, and it may just be my own, made up in my own perceptual mind, but I've noticed that when I do that practice, I get what at least appears to me to be a different response from people, a different look from people than I
Right.
do if I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm. I bet that's true. Anyway.
The invitation to awakening is, and there are probably so many people out there that have never had anyone truly look at them through the eyes of love,
Mm-hmm.
through Brahma, through that presence.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely a powerful practice and a gift to give.
Yeah. Well, may you make many trips to Costco.
Well, it would be nice if you could arrange it, if you could help us, because we're in Bristol, Virginia, and we don't have a Costco within,
Oh, you
well, the closest
said.
one's 2 hours away. We got to deal with Sam's,
Oh
which doesn't
my
have all the
gosh.
organics.
Oh
So
yeah.
we keep
Right.
lobbying for one.
Oh boy.
But I do it at Sam's too.
Good. Good. You can
So,
even do it at Giant.
yes, you can even do it. You can even do it at the breakfast table
Yeah.
with whoever you're sitting with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else is exciting in your world, young lady?
Well, I had a wonderful talk with my grandson, Charlie, who called me up and he said, Orb, have you ever realized that you can raise your dopamine level just by thinking about somebody you're crazy about? I said, oh, yeah, I know about that. He said, how do I get a handle on it? Because it's not healthy. In this case, she's not coming around, this girlfriend. So his actuality is she's a distant, reluctant friend, and he has other ideas. I said, Charlie, let's work on it together because I'm also an addict. Doesn't matter what kind. But I've been doing a little practice, which is based on what Dr. Tim has been reading in The Way of Mastery, how the first source generated desire is a God desire, is a pure desire. That is our basic being. Then you can go from there into things you crave or obsessive thinking or all kinds of stuff that gets you into trouble. But if you can find that spot and stay with that, and you may have to become your little boy self to do that, because your dad and you had the best relationship back then. You were just so close. And something went awry when you became a teenager, which is very common. But if you can go back there and get into that place and stay in that place, great. And you won't be able to probably. The next thing to do is notice the dopamine rush, the temptation to substitute God desire for compulsion, attraction, whatever it happens to be. Notice it, and then use a little hypodermic and put the needle into that bubble of your
Lost you there.
endorphins. What? Lost you, Michael. What?
We've lost you, Susan.
Okay. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
there, you're back.
Oh,
I don't know what
okay.
happened, but you're back.
Oh, sorry. I didn't do anything.
That's okay.
Um, so I don't know where you lost me, but I told him I've been picturing my endorphin.
Getting back to the God compulsion.
Yeah, I've been picturing my endorphin bubble that got puffed up, taking a little hypodermic and withdrawing just the right amount of endorphin. So I'm back to balanced and I can breathe and I can come into the present and then I can get busy on my life. And it just helps as a little meditation. That's the type of meditation I've been doing lately, which is kind of strange, but it's very helpful. But it's all based on the idea that we are basically connected with Source in total health. And we get our initial first impulses as desires from there, and those are pure and healthy and God-giving and entirely normal. So I might have some of that wrong because I haven't talked to Dr. Tim about that. But anyway, Charlie said he would do that. So we've got this hypodermic needle popping endorphin balloons all over the place.
Cool. It also sounds like it might be a place to reintroduce forgiveness. To look at, is there perhaps a part of him, if he puts it out, that she's distant or what have you, is there a part of him that feels like, he's not worthy, he doesn't deserve, whatever the dynamic is, and that if there's any energetic pattern in him that's pushing away, then there's a way to get at that too, and that's cancel the goal, collapse into, breathe into, and touch into what's going on inside, and see where that takes him.
Good, because he said, I can't even be with her because I'm so paralyzed with self-consciousness and hope and guilt and tension that I can't even be with her. So that's perfect.
So what a perfect thing to feed back to him, to explain to him what he's doing.
Yeah.
Notice the push-pull you've got going on. Oh, I can't be with you but I want to be with you.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect opportunity for him to confront and heal his disease, to look at every energetic pattern in him that says something, whatever his conclusions have been about himself, that he doesn't deserve it or he'll flub it or whatever, it could be as varied as negative human experience can be. That, oh, Charlie, look, let's go back to that conversation. What a great place to get in touch with and clean all of your life up. Because you know what, Charlie? You're an awesome being that deserves the attention of an absolutely beautiful, wonderful woman that will cherish you eternally. That might be a good mind shift to give him. introduce the mind shifter tool.
I'm going to have to put that together, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, and it might even be a projection project that Orb might even take that same mind shifter and use it and see where it leads her.
So would you say it, Michael? It is safe and healing for me to, or Charlie to,
Recognize that I am an awesome expression of love
mm-hmm.
that deserves to be cherished fully
Okay.
by a wonderful, beautiful, in his case, woman.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Because
Good.
who knows? He might even be dealing with something as genetic.
Oh, he might. At least a family pattern. Yeah.
And who knows, between the two of you, you might just clean it out for the whole family. How cool would that be?
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Oh,
If
okay.
you clean
Thank
it
you,
out for the
Michael.
whole family, who knows? You might clean it out for the whole human family. Now that would be really cool.
Now let's not get beyond ourselves, Michael.
Well, that's part of myself. I don't know. I think it's part of yours too.
Mm,
So that would be one of the first things that would go on the right side of the page.
got it. The left side.
Yeah. No, on the right side. You're going to do the mind shifter on the left side, and then the right
Yeah.
side is the thoughts that come up. So on the right side,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
that sounded kind of like a message of, oh, I better not get too big for my britches.
I lost you there. What?
The response that we go on the right side of the page with that statement that you just made.
Oh, I thought you were literally saying the mind shifter should be put on the right side of the page, and I remember you training us otherwise.
What I heard,
Mind-
Susan, was
If
that
I
you.
said that, I said it backward. You draw a line down the middle, left side
Yeah.
of the page, the mind shifter goes to the right side of the page, everything else that comes up. Yes,
Exactly. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said it, Michael, exactly. I think, Susan, just for you, Michael was just wanting you to take your statement once you created that mind shifter and put that on the right side of the page, and your statement was, don't get too big for your britches or something like that. Like, in whatever your statement was, to clean up that egoic thought.
That makes sense, Susan? Susan B.
Yeah. Basically, I understand. The twisted which
Yeah.
side it was on is beyond me to recapture, but I
Okay.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that might be a power person message that was given to you.
Oh, yeah. Who do you think you are and all that stuff?
There
I
you go.
bet Susan F. got some of those too. Coming from a big family. Yeah.
Oh yeah, every time I shine my light, it was, and
Right.
again, being able to see that those people couldn't see their own light, and so they
Mhm.
wanted to dim ours, but we then took it on ourselves that it was us. So what a beautiful way that, as Michael said, that you get to clean it up for the human family, because I see that light in you, and I know you can do it.
Thank you, Susan. I wanted to ask you, and this is none of my business, but what's your
Yeah.
birth order, just for the fun of it?
I come from a family of 8, and I have a twin brother who's the youngest, who's 2 minutes younger than me. So I'm the 7th of 8.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay. Well, you and I are both in that position. I'm second to youngest, 2 of 5, and I don't have a twin. So whatever I've got, you've gotten spades. Oh, good luck.
Well, I'm just you and you're just me. So I'm cleaning up and you're cleaning up. We're just reflecting
Yeah.
each other all the way home.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing
And
great.
Susan
I
F.
will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan F., let me see if I heard your statement correctly. So
Yeah.
every time that you shine your light, people are always there to amplify it, intensify it, and carry it forward into the world with you and support you in it. Is that what I heard you say?
That's happening now. Yes.
Oh, good. Ah, hey, all right.
And yeah, it was my perception that the content of my own mind was being, yeah, that I didn't have light, but now it's being corrected because all these beautiful beings are reflecting it, that I get to shine fully and completely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Susan F., I love the idea that came up this morning that we'll start the quantum still point prior to the intensive, but we'll wait for the final session until after the intensive. I think that's, especially with the intuitive development, that's going to be monumental. That's going to,
Yeah, I felt that when you said that, when you sent me that text, like right away, my just like the light inside just went. So that
yeah,
felt really
getting
right.
the first part of the training done and moving, and then being in that thing for the whole 9 days, and then
Yeah.
doing that the final piece. That's yeah, that's going to be awesome.
I think so
So
too.
looking forward to it.
Yeah, me
Very
too.
cool.
Me too.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. It is now just about 2:00, and we appreciate you. We bless you. We hold you in the presence of the deepest level of cherishing that we can. And we'll see you tomorrow. Blessings. Bye-bye.